Hello, I'm Oliver from Carl Zeiss. We have the partnership with Nokia where we developed a complete new technology of imaging for the Nokia 9 PureView. Here we are using an array of 5 cameras to take the images, and the major difference compared to the other systems is that we are not using one camera to take one shot, but we are using all 5 cameras at one time, taking 5 images and then recalculating it to one image. The principle of an array camera is that we are using more or less similar cameras. So that means all these cameras have the same focal length. The only difference is that we are using 2 RGB cameras and 3 monochrome cameras. And then we are recalculating an image using the information of all 5 cameras. And by doing this, we can increase the sensitivity by the factor of 10 compared to a standalone color camera. And by doing this, we also get an incredible high dynamic range of more than 12 f-stops. And for the first time with this kind of array camera, we can capture HDR images of moving objects. Because in the traditional way of shooting HDR images, you have to take images in a sequence, one after the other, with different exposure times. Here we can make different settings for each camera, and so in one shot we can take long exposure time shots, short exposure time shots, and then we can recalculate it to a motion-free, blur-free HDR image of moving objects. And the third thing is, by having these 5 cameras, we have a wide stereo basis for calculating 3D depth information. Again, compared to other solutions you see on the market, they have up to 10 or 15 layers of depth information. With this array camera, we can create a depth map of more than 1,000 up to 1,200 layers of depth information, ranging from 7 centimeters to 40 meters, and covering the complete wide angle of the image. And this allows very nicely to play around with the sharpness and refocusing of an image. So we have all the depth information, and we can easily set the focus point after taking the image at any part of the image, and get all the information to add nice background blur or refocus. We are not using the concept of using cameras with different focal lengths. The zooming work is done by the smart algorithms, and based on the very accurate pixel information we get by the fusion of the 5 images, even the digital zooming solution here in this phone is outstanding good, and especially in low light conditions, as I explained, that we have this very high dynamic range. That combined with that kind of digital zoom brings very good zooming results in difficult light situations. I would say this kind of array photography is brand new in the field of smartphones, for a good reason, because the computational photography needs a lot of calculation efforts and computing power, and therefore 2 years ago or 3 years ago it would have been just impossible to do this. We added dedicated chips for calculation here to help the main processor of the phone to do the work at all. And we are opening now a door to a complete new technology, this computational photography. You see here now with a depth map of up to 1,200 layers, we create very accurate depth information. For photography, it's refocusing, but you can think of many technical applications that need 3D data. So, and I'm very curious what is going to come from third-party apps and how they use these new opportunities.